Parents, stop sacrificing your future for your adult kids. Half of parents are still paying their grown kids' bills, almost $1,500 a month on average. And it's putting your own retirement at risk. The bank and mom and dad is open for business, but for how much longer?
It's a great episode today on Your Retirement Elevated. Walter Storholt alongside Scott Dugan, financial advisor, and our guide each and every episode to better financial clarity and guidance. And looking forward to it today. Scott, this is an interesting topic that you've picked out for us. And I know this has all kind of come about from this Fortune article. And the headline grabber is that people are paying their kids' bills to the tune of $1,500 a month on average, which sounds astounding to me. What's this all about? Help break us down for us.
Well, definitely, Walter. And it was an eye-opening piece. So basically, it's saying that nearly half of all parents are still financially supporting their adult kids. We're talking Gen Z and millennials, and it's costing them big time. And we're talking on average, again, almost $1,500 a month, and in some cases, much more. So when you look at, Gen Z is getting the most support, probably because they're still early in their careers. But even millennials who are pushing 40 are still getting help. And because parents are covering a variety of items, including groceries, rent, cell phones, insurance, even tuition in some cases. So the statistics are wild.
Yeah, that's hard to believe. I mean, I get the Gen Z still, but millennials, like, come on, guys, I'm in that group. Like, we got to get better here.
It's pretty wild. And here's the kicker. A lot of these parents are putting their own retirement at risk. And this report says that they're spending more than twice as much on their adult kids than they're saving for retirement each month. And just let that sink in for a minute.
Yeah, I kind of have to do a double take on that. Twice as much being spent on the adult kids than they're saving for retirement.
Yeah. So 2 piggy banks, twice as much going to their kids' piggy bank as their own for their own financial future.
Man, that's rough.
And now the article says there is some good news here. So it's not all,
not all doom and gloom.
Yeah. So many people are starting to realize that this is not sustainable. And almost 4 out of 10 parents say they plan to stop financial support within the next couple of years. Not because they don't want to help. That's not the issue.
Right.
But because they simply can't afford to keep doing it. And I know, Walter, these are conversations. We're very fortunate. Our clientele, clients, families that we serve, this isn't as prevalent, but it does happen. I can tell you that I have probably, a half dozen conversations per year where it's either, hey, someone needs, some child is coming to us and they want to start a business or they need money to start a venture. That's one thing.
Yeah.
The other is consistent cash flow out for basic necessities. So again, where a lot of these people, I would tell you, if they don't have professional they're working with to really point this out and kind of give them a little bit of tough love, they just keep going. And again, I understand, we want to help, we want to give, but it's like sometimes you have to just stop and save yourself. Like I said, getting in an airplane, what do they tell you to do? You got to put the mask on first,
right,
before you put somebody else's mask on. Yeah, and that's what we're seeing.
Yeah, the problem won't go away, in a lot of these cases, I would imagine. Yeah. Why is it such a common issue, though? I know that maybe among your client base, it's not something you're seeing every single day, but I would imagine even successful people who have saved a lot for retirement might still be falling victim to this issue, especially based on the findings of this article and the research that they did. What other factors are at play here? It can't just be that, us millennials and our Gen Z cousins aren't I'm not buying into the we're all lazy and not going to work, old tripe, right? Like there's other factors here.
Yeah, definitely not it. Inflation and cost of living outpacing entry-level wages is definitely something that's predominant. Think about the amount of student loan debt that there is out there. I mean, it's over $1 trillion, and coming out, if you can't find a job, think about that, having that type of debt hanging over your head, and it doesn't go away. So that, and Gen Z and millennials entering adulthood in an expensive, maybe uncertain economy.
Sure.
You got to think of the, I've been doing this for almost 25 years. We've seen a lot of ups and downs where previous generations, you kind of had longer stretches. And again, I think it really comes down to that emotional pull that parents want to protect their kids from financial struggle. And so it's interesting. You see people that had very difficult times, especially like our financially successful clients. Let's say they've been a business owner, built a business, went without, struggled, had very stressful times, came out on the other side and had this level of success and cash flow that when they had kids, their kids experienced the other side of it.
Mm.
And so with those, the ability to do that, you start to insulate them from that. And then so they don't have necessarily the amount of, say, trials and tribulations maybe they did. Yeah. And I think that's what you're seeing right now.
I think it's a great point. I both empathize with like folks who are graduating these days and what they're going through. I was able to, on not much of a salary coming out of college, still pay off my student loans in about a year, and was able to support myself at my own apartment. I think it was $475 a month. I think that would be pretty rough to come by in a lot of locations these days of comparable, style. So I realized that they're facing a lot more challenges. But I went without cable. I didn't have, this was before we had all the streaming sticks and stuff. But I didn't have cable. Went without that, right? And ate beans and rice and did the oodles and noodles or ramen routines, all those kinds of things to get by for a while until I was more stable. So hopefully folks can still accomplish that. But I realize there are some struggles maybe that this generation faces that prior ones didn't when they first graduated.
Oh, and definitely. And, and at what point does helping like cross the line into hurting your own financial future? That's what I think people really need to take a look at if they're in this situation.
Yeah.
And so like when your monthly support consistently outpaces retirement contributions, that's a red flag.
That's red flag. Easy one.
Yeah, big time. When support becomes expected, not occasional. Like if you've got a 40-year-old getting an allowance, we have to maybe relook at that.
Sure.
Unless there's really awful circumstances. But, and again, another sign, delaying retirement, dipping into savings, feeling resentment, after taking loans out against your 401k, that could definitely hurt you in the long run. The
signs can be both tangible, as you pointed out, but also the feelings. I think that's a really important one. If you're feeling resentment, you don't want to damage your relationship because there's this expectation and because you're harming your own future by taking. It's time to have conversations if you're getting to that point, I would think.
Oh, absolutely.
Is your retirement strategy working as hard as you are? Get the answers you deserve with Elevated Retirement Group's information-packed toolkit. Inside, you'll get Scott's book, Exceptional Retirement, along with essential insights covering the 5 key areas of retirement planning, strategies to keep more of your hard-earned money, and how to choose your winning retirement team. Take control of your retirement today. Click the link in today's show description to claim your toolkit at no cost to you.
How do you view this? I don't know if you've ever had to do this, Scott, and kind of step in and be a relationship manager here, but how can parents sort of walk that tightrope of maybe having to pull back support if they realize some of these red flags without going that too far to damaging the relationship with a child?
Definitely. And I've actually got a real world example.
Okay.
Where longtime clients, wife passed away. They did a lot for the children, and now that he is the only parent left, he's got one child that has kind of been on the payroll for a long time, and it's increased. I mean, and it's a monthly allowance. It's a credit card that gets magically paid off, rent's paid, and this person has a job sometimes, other times. But it's $6,000 to $8,000 a month. And what we discovered was it was embarrassing for him to admit that he's been enabling, his child, and I get it, it's his only son.
Yeah.
He just didn't know how to have the conversation. And so he said, hey, let's get a handle on this. So he really didn't have an idea of what was going out. So one is kind of a head in the sand, don't want to look at it. So the first was, let's get our arms wrapped around what's this cash flow look like, what it's been for the last 12 months. And that's where we discovered, $6,000 to $8,000 a month. And I said, we need to kind of have an honest conversation about the state of the union here. And it was interesting. The son really didn't, I think he knew, but I don't think he really knew the extent of, maybe he understood the amount of cash flow, but he did not understand the effect it was having on the resources that his father had left. And so I said, I will facilitate this conversation, which we did. And so we sat down and I said, this is what's been going out. Your father has been very amenable, he wants to help you. I said, but your father has 7 years of money left at this rate. 7 years. And your dad's 65. So are you comfortable with your father running out of money in 7 years? And so I had to step in, and I was maybe the heavy on this, the bad person, but my job is to watch out for my client and to do that. So it was very uncomfortable for the situation, but it got his attention, and we shut off the credit card and we've we've made them submit, what does it really cost you to live? And amazingly, we didn't need that much money. It was just frivolous. So again, we want to give guidance and financial education to them. And I think the other part of this is there might be an inheritance down the road to the dad, which will ultimately get to the son. And the biggest thing was, hey, we need to get some good habits in place, because if you do get this inheritance, ultimately gets passed on to him. What are they going to do with it? They can't handle money now. You give a large lump sum, it's going to be awful. So it's been a process. We're making strides. But I think getting it out in the open was like, sunlight is the ultimate disinfectant. We got to get it out there, talk about it. And we're trying to help them, be accountable to it.
Well, you talk about value. I mean, being able to pass along financial education and lessons and guidance ultimately is going to be more advantageous for that adult child, or even if you're working with a child who hasn't reached adult stage, but you want to pass along good lessons. All of that's going to be more valuable than just handing over cash, especially if it's going to that frivolous spending. You're not building any good habits that way. So yeah, it's a tough love moment if you're sacrificing your own retirement to pay for your child's, random stuff, right? Whatever that may look like.
Absolutely.
Got to get them floating on their own or swimming on their own, I guess.
It is. And that obviously the article talks about people that are still working and saving. And I get it's competing, but most of the time, the reason the government has catch-up provisions in retirement once you reach 50 is because usually kids are off the take, around that time. And we're peak earning years. So that 50 to 65 range, it's like, hey, let's put more money away. We've got more cash flow. Let's spend time with us. The story I was telling is, here's someone that's retired and sacrificing the retirement because they're not going back to work. So it was detrimental, barring this inheritance, it may or may not come.
Yeah.
It is that, you got to look at it. What are the priorities, and, how should parents think about balancing helping their kids and saving retirement? I got to tell you, retirement should come first so you can be self-sufficient, and you got to revisit the family budget and work with a planner to realign priorities. And a lot of times just having a financial planner or an advisor there, I tell our clients, if they come into a situation, let us be the bad guys. You can say no because we we told you that would not be good. So we've stepped in that situation before. Ultimately, it's because we know financially secure parents help future generations more in the long run. And if we get pulled into this for too long, in support, that's where we can damage that retirement nest egg that you really need.
That's well said, Scott. And if you find yourself going through this situation right now and need Scott to be the bad guy, you can give him a call and set up a time to chat. Talk a little bit about what you're going through. In fact, if you go to listentoscott.com or click the link in the description of today's show, you can schedule a complimentary review with Scott's team and go through your financial situation, where you stand right now. Where are the pain points, like maybe spending too much on adult kids? And how do we rein that in, as well as round out the rest of your financial plan? Honestly, this is just sometimes how the planning process starts, is with, hey, whatever is the biggest burning point for you right now in your financial life. And it could be this, it could be something else. Whatever it is, don't hesitate to reach out if you want to meet with Scott and the team at Elevated Retirement Group. Scott, thanks for the help. Appreciate the guidance today. Interesting conversation. Thanks for sharing that story as well. I think that really drives things home.
And again, hopefully, whether it's talking to us, our advisors, or somebody else, we just encourage you to talk to someone that can help you navigate this very precarious situation when you are torn between putting money away for you and helping your kids out. It's a tough decision, but again, quality professional help can really guide you to make the right decisions. We'll link to that Fortune article in today's episode as well, just in case you want to go check that out. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're watching today's episode on YouTube, and that way you never miss an episode when they release. We'll see everybody next time right back here on your Retirement Elevated.
This video has been prepared for educational and marketing purposes only. The information in this video is general in nature, does not constitute personalized investment advice, and does not provide a complete analysis of the subjects discussed. All investments involve risk, and different types of investments involve varying degrees of risk. There can be no assurance that any specific investment strategy will be profitable or suitable to you. Additionally, although information presented in this video is believed to be factual and up to date, we do not guarantee its accuracy. You should consult an attorney or tax professional regarding your specific legal or tax situation, and should consult a professional advisor before implementing any of the strategies mentioned in this video. Investment advisory services are offered through Elevated Capital Advisors LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisor affiliated with Elevated Retirement Group LLC. Registration as an investment advisor does not constitute an endorsement of Elevated Capital Advisors LLC by securities regulators, nor does it indicate that the firm has attained a particular level of skill or ability. Insurance advice and products may be offered by a third-party insurance producer, which may be affiliated with Elevated Retirement Group LLC and Elevated Capital Advisors LLC. Walter Storholt and Third Wheel Media LLC receive compensation for their assistance in preparing and hosting this video.